I recently finished Fire Emblem Engage, and I wanted to kind of take some time to talk about it, kind of give like a formal review. Jotted down some of my thoughts. I do have a final score for it. Dev, this is going to be kind of a. I want you to ask me questions. If anything pops up, and I did ask you to kind of come a little prepared.
Yeah.
If throughout the review you have any questions, even if you want to ask about kind of what Fire Emblem is, like I think it's actually a great perspective for somebody who hasn't played the game, to kind of just learn more about the game. So, anyways, let's get started with my review of Fire Emblem Engage. So, obviously, Engage is the latest entry in the long-running Fire Emblem series, and I really found this as an attempt to refocus the franchise on its tactical combat. But I'm going to get into that a little bit more later. First, I kind of wanted to talk about the story. So, the story of Fire Emblem Engage is pretty standard. You play as a character named Alir, who is trying to collect these 12 rings known as emblems, while trying to stop the evil Fell Dragon from getting the 12 emblems first. This story contains some good twists for me, and it has kind of this side-swapping character thing that Fire Emblem's known for. You kind of run into some enemies along the way, and you're like, that's a cool character. I would love to play with that character. And eventually they do jump sides. So there's a little bit of that going on there. I do think the story falls a little flat in some places, especially when compared to the narratives of the previous two games, Fates and Three Houses.
I have a question about that. Are they? Is it this game associated with those games in any way? Is it like a same universe? Is it like a?
So it's kind of tricky. It's the same. So I'm going to get into it when I talk about the emblems.
Okay.
So it's a great question. It does not take place in the same worlds as the previous games, but there is a shared universe.
Okay, I gotcha.
Think Avengers and like the multiverse.
Okay.
It's kind of like that. Um, anyways, so one thing I really liked is that so they have a fully voiced protagonist now. It's the first time in the franchise. But something that really irked me about it was so they give you a name for the protagonist. The character's name is Alir. That is their name. And you can choose whether you play as a male or female. That's fine. The character's name is Alir. And we know that in the canon they will be known as Alir moving forward because there are characters in this game that from where they adopt that canon name that they were given. And they do this annoying thing in the voice acting where when a character is talking to the protagonist, even though the subtitles include your name, the voice actor does not mention the character's name because you're able to change your name in the game. And it's such a like sometimes it was written in a way like where it's not a big deal, but there are sometimes where there's just kind of like a pause where there shouldn't be a pause, and I was like why? Just like you've given the character a name, you've brought in a voice actor for this character, like just make this character that character, just to give your players some sort of like illusion of choice by naming them. Like it does, I don't know. It was a little thing, but I just kind of wanted to mention it. For me, well, really for the game, the biggest addition to Fire Emblem Engage are the emblems. So emblems are heroes from past Fire Emblem games. These heroes are attached to the rings that I mentioned earlier, and they can basically be given to any character, in which case the emblems sync up and pair up with those characters. Emblems can increase their bond level with characters, which unlock great passive skills. Emblems also give some minor base stat boosts. Emblems are also able to lend linked characters their powers and engage, which is where the name of the game comes from. Engaging with an emblem allows characters to use a once per level special attack, which can really save your ass when you're in up against the wall. And it also allows characters to use a special weapon linked to that emblem. And I thought this was really cool because it offered a new layer of strategy to Fire Emblem, in a sense that you can either choose to your like assigning your emblems. You can either like let's say like there's an archer one, and I don't really want to give spoilers who's in the game and who's not in the game. There's an archer one. You could give that archer emblem to an archer character and make them a better archer class. Or you could look at your knight class, your general class, who is a slow axe user, and say, I want to be able to give them a bow when they engage. And you can really multi-purpose your units. And I just thought that this was a really, really awesome addition to the game. And I think emblems are a great way to include past characters and honor the history of the franchise while delivering some fan service to fans of the series. So to kind of answer your question, these emblems, they are basically the main characters and the heroes from all the previous Fire Emblem games, these 12 characters. And they aren't that character, but they are a version of that character. It's kind of hard to explain unless you play it, but it's basically like these characters are all in different universes, which is so somewhere in that multiverse, all these Fire Emblem games have happened in the same, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Canon. Um, but so yeah, I love the Emblem feature. Each emblem adds a paralog side mission for each emblem. These paralogs are levels from that hero's game. So it's just really cool, and it's a really nice way to kind of reward returning players. During these missions, number one, the layout of the mission is the same as that hero's game, one of the levels from that game. You kind of learn a little bit about that hero's story. They don't go into too far into detail, which I think is a really nice touch, because if you're a returning player, you know it, and you're getting that satisfaction of, I know what he's talking about. I know the battle that he's talking about. And if you're a new player, they set it up and they explain their stories in a way where they don't really give things away to you. They're just kind of telling you like, this was a time in my life that I had to deal with this struggle. And as a new player, that would fascinate the hell out of me and make me want to play more of these games. And then also the little thing that I really loved, I would almost describe the emblems being in this game as the same level of care that they give Smash Brothers characters coming into Smash Brothers. Each of these paralog levels, they have a medley from that Fire Emblem's game as its level music, and just really, really nice touch that really adds a lot of nostalgia for a returning Fire Emblem fan. But still really enjoyable in its own right if you've never played a Fire Emblem before.
Okay.
So that's the emblems. Some other stuff I kind of wanted to talk about. Exploring the battlefield. So new to this game, after you complete a level, you can actually explore the battlefield that you were on. This game also does a fantastic job at converting the overhead map into the animations of combat. So what I mean by that, Dev, is have you seen enough Fire Emblem to know that it's kind of like a grid based?
Yeah.
So when you go into combat, it brings you down to where those two fighters on the battlefield are fighting. And in past games, it just kind of brings you down to like a generic battlefield. This game has it completely mapped out where you zoom in and like let's say you're fighting between a building and a wall in that square. In the video, in like the combat cutscene, you are fighting next to that house between the wall. And I thought that that was a really, really awesome touch, and it's a great attention to detail.
I'm watching the B-roll that Jeff has up, and it looks. I can see what you mean.
Yeah, it just kind of zooms in, and it's the exact same spot on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's so cool. Like I noticed it after like the second level, and I was like, "Oh wow, look at that." So in terms of exploring the battlefield, it's really nice that they mapped this battlefield out. However, the post level exploring felt like such a missed opportunity to me. Because so you can go around the battlefield, you can kind of talk to your allies, have a lot of one sentence dialogues, which doesn't really go anywhere. You can kind of scavenge some items. You can actually adopt animals and bring them back to your hub world to get more items. But that's about it with exploring these battlefields. I just felt like there was a lot of opportunities left on the table, if that makes sense, where it's like you like exploring a battlefield after a war zone, like you could have done so much more with that. Like you could have had like maybe meet new characters on the battlefield who are like or like have civilians hiding, which they do have some civilians, but I just felt like it just felt like a missed opportunity. Kind of a minor gripe there, but just something I think that they could definitely build on. Really cool idea they could build on moving. And then so my next part of this game, you know, the big thing, other than the emblems, is the hub world, the social aspect of this game. It's called the Somnial. You could do things like having a meal with allies, using the shops, have a stable of animals, like I mentioned earlier, maintain your emblem rings, and collect items. Next to the emblem themselves, this is Fire Emblem Engage's biggest change. So in the last game, Three Houses, it was really two games in one. You had the social aspect and then you had the tactical combat. And basically the way Three Houses worked is you would spend an in-game month at the monastery, at the academy, preparing yourself for that month's mission. And while it did kind of become weird at some points in terms of like, we need to go take care of this, and it's like, okay, we'll take care of this at the end of the month. It had two games to it. The social aspect where you're at the school doing all these things, you know, building these relationships with your people, all this stuff. And then you would go and do the tactical combat. And I felt like why I love that game is because both really worked together hand in hand. They make a Intelligent Systems developer of this game clearly made a big attempt to focus more on the combat And I think that they make a huge mistake here in the sense that they stray way too far in the opposite direction in terms of the social elements in this game. Um, Fire Emblem, the two biggest things about Fire Emblem, you can ask fans, and they might have some differing opinions, but generally speaking, it's solid, awesome tactical gameplay with amazing character development. In Fire Emblem games, fans love these games because of the characters. There's so many of them because of the nature of the game, with it being permadeath, which you can turn off, which is always really nice. But you form bonds with these characters. These characters are so well written, and the way that they interact with each other is usually so well done. And Three Houses kind of took a step in the right direction there, where it made it even better. And this game really takes a step back. They make a conscious effort to shift the focus back to combat. For me, the social activities in this game, they feel like they barely matter. Activities aren't rewarding, and they just don't feel worth the time for me. Like I said, Three Houses was great because it felt like two games in one that each benefited from the other, and that's just not the case here. Um, the gameplay loop was one for me that changed over time because I tried to play it the way I played Three Houses, which is all right. After every main mission, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go to the hub world. I'm gonna talk to everybody. I'm gonna do every activity I can do. I'm gonna get my support ranks up, which is the bond between characters, and then I will be ready to go into the next battle. Halfway through the game, I was just like, why am I even in the hub world? This isn't adding anything to the game. The support ranks, which for me are like the most important thing, they aren't going up very fast. Like it just felt like a waste of my time. And I just feel like they wanted to dial the social aspect back after Three Houses because there was a section of the fan base that wanted them to stick more towards the core gameplay. But like, man, I just felt like this was such a weird step backwards. Everything is just so tedious. They overcorrected and they went from doing a lot to just doing way too little. And I think that these changes to the social aspect of the formula really hurt the narrative too, and the character development that are usually very strong parts of this franchise for me. I think that again, like it's all about the bonds between the characters and the character development. It's what makes Fire Emblem for me the best tactical game. Like yes, the gameplay itself is really smooth, but like it's what sets it apart from other games in the genre where it's like these are characters that you really care about and you really care about the bonds that they form between each other and the conversations that they have as the game goes on. And I just feel like by not doing a good job with the social hub, you just kind of really ruined a lot of that for me. They also don't have S rank supports, which doesn't mean anything to you. But for a Fire Emblem fan, I was like, why are there no S rank supports in this game? I like it. So basically, the way the supports work, Dev, is you spend enough time with two characters together, whether it be next to each other on the battlefield, or you share a meal, or you heal them in the battle, different things. It raises your support level, and then you go from C to B to A, and then you go to S in the games that have S ranks. And these it's an ongoing story between these two characters, and each pair of characters have a support. Well, there are some characters that don't, and that's just because they would assume that the two characters in the army don't meet.
Okay.
But a large portion of these characters have these support ranks, and one of my favorite parts of the game is getting through these. And this game, just for me, they just didn't hit like they normally do. Some of them were good still, but a lot of them just didn't feel like they mattered as much, and it's kind of a shame.
Okay.
Um, I mentioned this in my review because I thought Forrest was going to be here, but the game has a sick anime intro, and I was like, that's dope.
Do you like the characters?
I do,
Okay.
and again, like the formula, the foundation of these characters is still really strong, and it's another Fire Emblem game that is just knocks it out of the park in character development, or in terms of characters. Character development comes in kind of weak because of the social aspect being as weak as it was. Coog's here. Thanks, Coog. He's stopping by to say hi. Sierra Miro. Appreciate that. So that's my review of Fire Emblem Engage. Overall, I really loved Fire Emblem. What it chooses to focus on, it does so well. I love the emblem mechanics. I think the tactical gameplay is the best that it's been in the series. Just from adding the layers of the emblems, it's a unique, fresh way to just play the game. Um, it's an awesome thing to have in the game, and it's great. And I love that it really kind of it showcases the history of this franchise, and it's just so cool to be teaming up with Like they could have went an easy route and just been like, all of these characters are main characters in this game, and like people would have liked it. But the fact that they put them in a way where they're these emblems, so they're not like they don't take center stage, so they let these new characters come in and be them, but they're still there, and you can build off relationships with the emblems and the characters. And I just loved it. It's really good. But that being said, the toned down social side of the game is a huge step backwards for the narrative, character development, and the fun loop that was established in Three Houses. Course correction away from social aspects was just too extreme, which honestly, some fans of the franchise honestly will probably prefer. Um, if you're an old school Fire Emblem fan, like you didn't play Three Houses and you just want to play really good tactical gameplay, you're gonna love this game. It's a 10 out of 10 for you.
Okay.
Where do you think I rank this game?
Just based off your review, I want to say 8.
Okay.
8 out of 10. It seems like you liked it a lot, but
Okay. Producer Jeff, do you want to take a stab at my review score?
I think you're going to give it somewhere around a 7.25 or a 7.5.
Okay. So I go off for my review scores. I go off just so you know, Dev, because you're the first review here for go out of 10, and then I also do 0.5s. I don't go into too nitty gritty. Just so you know, Dev, for the future. I gave this game an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay. Oof.
So here's the thing: if this game had the social hub of Three Houses, this is a 10 out of 10 game. This is real. This is just more Fire Emblem. And like I have absolutely loved the last 2 Fire Emblem games. For me, they're both 10 out of 10 games. Fates and Three Houses. The social aspect, man, it just felt like such a waste of time. And you know me, like I argued with Forrest a lot about the Pokemon Legends Arceus gameplay loop. When I get into a gameplay loop that I really like, I want to stick with it and follow through with it.
Yeah.
And like I was halfway through this game and I was like, I'm not doing this.
I know that's a big deal for you too, because I think Breath of the Wild, that was an issue for you, not having. You felt like the characters didn't have enough like social, the history.
I use the term like they just didn't have soul.
Gotcha.
But like the characters here are really good. Like there are characters that I really like.
You're just not attached to them like you were previous characters.
It's not even that. It's more so me looking at the bonds between them. Like there are still support conversations that I enjoy. I just feel like the past game, Three Houses, kind of spoiled me. And probably other fans too, where it's just like you go from spending so much time off the battlefield with these characters. You really learn about these characters to kind of just being like, oh hey, look who it is on the hub world. It's Jade, the knight. Which I love Jade as a character. She's an awesome character. Like the characters are cool because they just have like little things. Jade was cool. She's this knight and she's like really tough and stuff, and you think that she'd be like real serious, but she writes comedy novels.
Okay.
And like that's just her character, and she writes comedy novels about one of the other knights in the army. And it's just like that's just the base level, the character. But like her interactions with the other characters are like characters reading her book, what they think of it. Like some characters really like it, some characters really don't, but that's okay because they're all different people. And I like stuff like that. I really love stuff like that. And that stuff is still there, but it's just you go from going like this good in Three Houses to like off the like this. And it's just like it's a shame. And they got rid of the S supports. Although to be fair, I'm not sure if the S supports were in Three Houses either. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been like 3 years since I played it. But I like the S supports. So yeah, that's my score for Fire Emblem Engage. Give it an 8.5 out of 10. Really, I really still recommend it. If you love Fire Emblem, you'll love this game. If you love the social aspects of Fire Emblem and nothing else, you're probably not going to like this game very much, though. But
so
great tactical combat.
Quick suggestion from producer Jeff. I do want you to give me your rating beforehand so that I can bring up a cool graphic on the screen that says like 8.5.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely do that. We'll learn as we go. We're still learning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that's great. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have any other questions for Fire Emblem Engage or anything at all?
Maybe the smaller stuff. Like, did you enjoy the music?
Yeah, music was really good. I like I said, I really got a kick out of the paralogs when I went into them, which are the side missions for the emblems. Mm-hmm. And it's like
throwback music, right?
Yeah, but it was a redone medley of it though. Yeah, so it just again like if you love Fire Emblem, if you just really love Fire Emblem, like there's a lot here for you to love, and there's a lot of respect to the past I don't want to give a spoiler, but like, so I won't, but there was one thing there was like at the end of the game where they could have went a little bit above and beyond and they just didn't do it. But I don't want to spoil, but other than that, it was just so well done.
Okay.
Is there anything else we missed? Any other questions?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I think we were good.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. Pretty quick episode this week. There was not a lot of news going on in the headlines, and obviously Forrest wasn't here to babble on about terror raid battles and Kirby and 6 out of 10 being a B, you know. But Forrest is okay. He'll be back. He'll be back next week, hopefully. But anyways, anything else gaming wise that we didn't cover you want to touch on or anything like that? Okay.
I'm excited to see maybe
I
some
just wanted to
new releases or these VR releases at least.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
I just wanted to say, Microsoft, the ball is back in your court. So,
yeah,
I think they should just do what they have to do. Throw in 20 or 30 years, like it just.
yeah.
Again, I think 10 years is fine.
10 years is plenty.
I do think 10 years is not enough, especially if you're planning on doing it for like if you're planning on keep it there anyway. Add another 10 years if that, like, you know what I mean. It's not forever. 20 years is a long time, but it's also
probably
not a
will.
lot in company sense.
To be honest, they probably will.
Yeah, just
I think we're gonna get some new. I think it may be a bold prediction, but I'm just gonna go there. I think this time next week we're sitting here doing the podcast, and there's a significant update on this.
okay. Yeah,
Nice.
I feel like that. I it just
fingers crossed that it just
I mean, if you have Microsoft meeting with Sony, well, or the other way around, reportedly, you have Microsoft meeting with the CMA this week.
Yeah, there's some deals being
there is talking going on this week.
Course.
I can't help but think that we're gonna get some substantial update on this week. But
I think you give in a little bit with Call of Duty because you're getting a lot more, and you know Sony only wants Call of Duty, but you have Diablo, you have big games under you that you can still work with. You have big titles you can bring back, you know. So, like, I agree with you. Call of Duty isn't the end all be all. I know how big it is, but
yeah, exactly. It's not the whole point. You know what I mean? Like, it's just little things. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna share that with you because I've learned this week and I thought it was really cool. Just a quick little fun fact. So I was watching a video about like games that had get like dual releases, think like Pokemon. Did you know that on the Game Boy Advance they put out a Crash Bandicoot and a Spyro game together that had them going against each other's antagonists?
no, that actually sounds really cool.
Doesn't it? Yeah. I found out about today. I was watching a video while I was doing laundry and I was like, holy shit, this existed? Apparently the Crash one wasn't very good though. It was like a mini game thing. But that's still a really cool concept for Spyro to go against is it Vortex?
Yeah.
And then Crash to go again. Who's the Spyro villain? I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
I'm having a brain fart.
No idea.
No idea. But regardless, it's a cool concept. It's a really
Played
cool
Spyro
concept.
when I was like 12.
That Activision could do. Activision would own Spyro and they would own Crash Bandicoot. Yeah. Bring back Guitar Hero. I want to get you, me, Forrest, and Austin, our friend Austin, in the room. Oh man, remember we had that group chat that was named the Rock Band Reunion Tour?
Yeah.
So producer Jeff, Forrest hates Rock Band.
Okay.
He just hates it, and it's mostly my fault. So there was this one time where I play for achievements on Xbox because I like to get my gamer score up, and I was playing Green Day Rock Band, and because I love Green Day, favorite band. And there was an achievement to play the career mode in one sitting. Now, Green Day. Yeah, exactly. You know Green Day. Long ass career. This game came out after 21st Century Breakdown. So like 2010, 2011. So but so like I call them over. We used to do like our monthly hangouts before Forrest moved to New Jersey, virtual New Jersey. And like the 1 month we were just like, hey guys, come on over. We're going to play some Rock Band. And they all showed up and I was like, hey, so we're kind of going to play Green Day Rock Band for 8 hours. Like that was how long it was. It's a 7-hour career mode or something like that. And like
I'd have been like, I'm going to kill you.
To be fair, you know, best friends. You guys stuck it out. And to this day, I appreciate it to know me to know it.
I enjoyed it for like the first 4
Well, that was the thing. Like, well, Austin loves Rock Band. So Austin had a great time the entire time.
So did I think I played drums.
Yeah, you played drums. Yeah.
Drums.
Well, yeah, because Green Day's got a great drummer. Trey Cool's really good. But like Forrest was playing guitar because I was like, I know this.
Right?
He was playing bass because I know the song, so I was like, I'll do the singing. It's fine. And Austin likes guitar, so yeah, Forrest was playing the bass, and he was like, at the end of it, he's like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah. He was done like 2 hours in. He's like, all right, guys.
And so we always joke, Jeff. We always joke like, hey, we're gonna have a rock band reunion tour. We're gonna get the band back together one day. And we're not gonna
Man.
we're not gonna
My
tell him.
my favorite part of Rock Band is the episode of South Park where Cartman sings Lady Gaga. Oh my god, dude! It was my ringtone for years.
Yeah, I remember that. That was great. But so yeah, every now and then we joke about it, like, hey, come on over. We're gonna lock you in a room and play Rock Band.
That's
Oh
awesome.
man, good times. Anyways, that's been episode 15 of the Game Room Podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here tonight in the chat. Thank you to the Doge, TJ. Thanks to the Coog for coming in for a few minutes. Hit that like button, subscribe on the way out. Go check out some of our other videos. If you like pro wrestling, we talk about AEW, Dynamite, and Rampage with our weekly review shows. We also talk video games every Monday night here on the Game Room Podcast. We also try to get some of the videos out in clips for you guys. We did a Pokemon tier list. Go to our channel and check it out. It was a pretty fun hour. It got pretty dicey at some points.
Yeah.
But that being said, follow us at our social medias in the description below. Do not follow Forrest on Twitch. He asks that we do not follow him. Don't follow Dev either. He's nowhere on the internet.
Yeah.
He's nowhere.
Can't find me.
You can't
You
find
follow
him.
him here.
You're following him here.
Come back next.
Yeah, if you like Devroro, come back next week for more Devroro. But yeah, guys, until next time, we'll see you later, and we will see you Wednesday for the Dynamite review.
Peace.